This episode is brought to you by Tabletop Dominion, purveyors of handmade dice and artisan gaming accessories. Why not head over to tabletopdominion.com and use the code BILLOW to enjoy 10% off your order? Who knows, maybe you will find your very own blue dice of power.
Hello and welcome to the Billowing Hilltop podcast. Yes, I've got a cold. No, I'm not happy about it. Yes, we've got more role-playing. No, they're not particularly happy about that either. Anyway, ratings and reviews, as always. You can find us on social media at Billowing Hilltop on Twix, at Billowing Hilltop everywhere else. If you're old, you can find us on Facebook. If you're older, you can email us at hello@billowinghilltop.com. That's it. Let's get on with episode 160 of the Billowing Hilltop podcast. Get the party started.
Hello. Hi.
Is this the Cheeseman effect?
Hi. Have you got any cheese at all? Even a little crumb of cheese?
Good evening. Let's get started. I don't know what we're doing, though.
We're doing Dungeons
It's the
and
ball.
Dragons, Michael.
It's the gala. It's a gala.
Late arrivals.
Oh, I've got notes and stuff as well. Oh, yes, I've written things down before. Yeah. Okay. I'm here with everybody. I'm here with Lucas, the wonderful Lucas. I'm here with my favourite player, Dan.
Hello.
Sinister Graham.
Hello.
The technically
Sinister or
incompetent
giant?
Johnny.
Or is he sinisterly giant?
Oh, giant.
I thought he was an enormous hologram before.
He's a giant hologram that we all kneel around.
Right. And that's sinister. is it?
Master. Well, I think so. You know, with the
I
cowl
do that every
and
day
then
at
you
work.
can't see the face. We've also got Paul, currently operative Paul, sort of
All right, I'm here. Operative,
Yeah.
sitting in my container
tank.
on top of the table.
How is everybody? Is everybody okay?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yep.
I was
I've not
reading
been looking forward to this.
about this guy who promotes arena shows. And apparently, Glass Cannon
Yeah,
sold out Wembley
Yeah.
Arena in like a day.
critical role, but yes.
Was that? Okay.
Wembley Arena, yeah.
Blimey.
In October or something.
Well, if they
I've
need
really struggled with those.
a support act,
The actually live, really thoroughly unscripted.
If you ever wonder what the actual sound of underwhelmed would be.
But you always need a warm-up hack, don't you? You know, normally someone that
normally someone that's quite good and can liven up the audience instead of kill it.
More like a before picture act.
Has anybody managed to get through a single episode of Critical Role?
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite good.
I
some
did
of
a
it.
few
At
years
least
ago.
it used to
Yeah.
be.
Mm.
I stopped years ago.
Glass Cannon is back next week, though, chaps. Proper Glass Cannon. That's what I've been waiting for.
I don't know. I've really liked some of the side stuff they've done. I really like Blades in the Dark. I really like the Delta Green stuff.
Get in the trunk.
Get in the
Yeah.
trunk. The Blades in the Dark is brilliant.
We had an email.
Mm,
We've asked for readers to send us a single expletive.
I was quite offended, actually. quite a
We
weird one,
had
this one.
one from Steve in Australia. Won't do the accent because I
I think we should.
can't.
Yeah.
Go on then, Graham.
You have to do the.
I don't know what the message is, so I'm not doing the accent.
Whereabouts in Australia is he from?
I've no idea.
Be hard to top twat. I think.
Can't do the accent then, can you?
Anyway, he says I'm. he says I'm tempted to opt for crikey, but that's been ruined by that Steve Irwin. That's it. That was Steve's email.
That's great. I was actually referring to the one from Mike Hibbert.
Oh yes, we have one from Mike Hibbert. What was his?
You'll be old enough to remember when Viz announced the worst swear word in the world. Are you ready? Fitbin. Yeah, I said it. That
I
made
have
me
no
laugh,
idea.
that
I haven't Googled it. Or maybe I should Google. Maybe I shouldn't actually. God knows what we might find. Right, on we go. There's no point in a recap. You're in a golden coach being pulled by 4 trolls stuffed into ceremonial footman's outfits. You've been taken through the great gates into the courtyard of Zeech's palace on Zeech Reach. You're in the courtyard. It's icy cold, there's snow on the ground, but within the bounds of the palace, not in like a Hesty's eternal spring garden kind of way. It seems a little bit warmer. It feels a little bit more spring-like. You can what do you do? How do you get out of a coach? Do you disbark? I think you alight.
Alight would be a good word.
You can alight from your coach, and there are a series of flambeaux staked out in a clear pathway for you to follow. and there are 2 blackened skeletal attendants waiting at the opening of this pathway. One of them's got a tray of drinks. One of them's got a tray of what look like sugared almonds or nuts in bowls. And one hand proffers these delicacies to you. The other hand's gesture up the pathway. The path leads through the courtyard, up a flight of steps into a sort of higher mezzanine area, and then off into a covered terrace. There's a lawn. There are little tables laid out. As you approach, you can hear the murmur of garden party conversation. Let's say it's about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more before sunset. And there is an assembled crowd of dignitaries that you are approaching. Standing there, holding a scroll that he is studying, is Telebir, dressed, spooned into a suit of jester's motley.
Looking good
It's
there,
much too
Telebir.
small for him. Oh, well, thank you very much. It is fashioned from only the finest materials.
I don't think it is.
It is slightly tight around the genital area.
That's more information than we needed.
You only brought him back because you like doing his voice, right?
Yeah, basically.
We like hearing the
Well, you
voice,
never
right?
know.
Yeah.
Maybe there is some really clever,
Element
as yet undiscovered plot reason.
plot aspect.
He sees you approach. He kind of does a double take, looks at the scroll again, looks up at you again, clears his throat, and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome to the gala 5 additional guests. From the Kingdom of Rubadubadub, it is His Excellency, the Ambassador Snugloff Flint Bunkle Snuggy. And the High Priest, Sessions." And he kind of looks at you like, "Really? Also with us this evening." From Diamond Lake.
Come on.
Sorry.
Come on.
We have
You can do it.
a Burple Herpish, famous bard. From the Twilight Monastery, we have Parker. And hailing from the Mistmarsh, we have Scaly Twinkle-Toes O'Toole. And guests look up a little bit, and he, with his eyes, he kind of gestures like, "Keep going, come on, come on, come on." And you're encouraged to mingle on
Right.
this terrace. It's called the Vertiginous Terrace. It's referenced in your on your invitations.
Oh.
Excellent. And are people
Right.
giving away free food?
There are skeletal attendants with food and drinks circulating.
Cheese?
Disrupt Undead.
Is there cheese? There's a chance of cheese.
I'm
There's
sure
always
there
a
must
chance
be one of
cheese.
those pineapples with cheese sticks on it.
I'm going to say 1 to 4 there's cheese, 5 or a 6 no cheese. Go. There's cheese. There's definitely cheese.
Mini
Okay.
vol-au-vents.
It could be on sticks. There are
Yeah, on sticks.
vol-au-vents.
I'll go
There
and
are
collect some of those.
it's finger food.
Ice yak cheese.
Those tiny little
Excellent.
hamburgers. Mini portions of
Sliders.
fish and chips. Yeah. Well, even smaller than a slider.
Yeah.
A single bite thing.
A sly.
A sly.
A slit.
And there's little mini pizzas.
Yeah.
Yes. And the guests kind of regard you with some curiosity. The terrace itself just tips over the edge down into the Lake of the Cold Sky. I mean, it must be 200-300 foot fall down into the ice cold water.
Right.
There are about 30 or 40 people present, maybe fewer than you might have expected.
I can't remember what questions we asked last time and what answers we got.
I wrote them down in the chat, Dan.
Oh, did you?
Mini samosas?
There can be some mini samosas should you so
Yeah.
desire.
Nicely spiced. Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
There are a few people that you
Anyone else eating?
recognise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
mini
everybody else,
samosas.
everybody else
yeah.
is eating and drinking. There
I'm
are
eating and drinking and filling my pockets.
okay.
I just take a tray off somebody.
Just make a quick.
Is there
poll.
any
Okay,
entertainment?
well, nobody seems to pay particular attention.
No, I'm eating some and
I think we can rustle up a couple of musicians. Yeah, a couple of skeletal minstrels, bonds, twanging away in a medieval minstrelly background conversation music.
I'll grab some extra cheese for Cheeseman.
Sure, you can pocket some cheese. Now, let me just clarify a few things. None of you have got weapons on view.
No.
No, not in view, no.
No.
No. They're all hidden away in magical spots. You've got a dagger hidden in your armour,
Yes.
Scaly.
Yes.
Sessions has not really got a weapon at all.
I don't think
but
I
you've got
actually
your
have a
broom.
weapon. I have my broom, yes. I'll use it as a walking stick.
Old man, his staff, or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Right,
But it's
fine.
not a staff, it's a broom. You might get mistaken for one of the cleaners.
It's unlikely.
He's in his finest.
Looks like most of the staff are sort of animated skeletons.
Yeah.
So far, anyway. So people that you know. So first of all, obviously, Talabir is there. There is somebody you recognise, a gnome with an enormous moustache that Uncle Buggy, you chatted with in the Deluxury on your first day here, second day
I
here.
nod in his direction.
Yeah, he nods back and is sort of simpers a little. You get the sense that maybe he's standing out by himself. Maybe he doesn't know many people. Who else do you recognise? Bakrush is there, as is Vajas, his Grand Vizier. Bakrush is sort of holding court with a bunch of people and telling what sound like off-colour stories. And there's lots of... and then I stuck it right up his jacksie. And I shat myself in the carriage on the way home. There is a half-elf woman who looks like she has been somehow sort of tidied up and spooned into a set of half-decent armour, but looks like she's more of a kind of ranger, wilderness type who really looks out of place. But you recognise her. She was piloting the second boar in the boar race that shot past your room and the ogre's hideout during the Ockeral fight.
Yeah.
None of you remember
Isn't
this
this the
stuff.
format
Odin.
that Mother Maggot adopts?
Yeah, that was my question.
You don't know who Mother Maggot is, but the woman that you've subsequently learned is called Mahudril, who is the head of the Red Blades trading and mercenary organisation,
Yeah.
and was in the casino and you chatted with her sessions. She was sitting on the kickstep of that boar and cast the sleet storm that held up Bakrush and his team. She's there.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have a secret identity?
I nod in her direction.
She brightens when she sees you. She's looking extremely elegant. She's known for her very ornate and high-value jewellery, and she's not disappointed this evening. She's obviously got the full set.
I'll do a tentacle motion in her direction.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Oh, I
was trying to figure-
just wave my hand like a tentacle and then
Okay.
nod.
Yeah, okay. She just looks absolutely
Thanks.
nonplussed. She looks a bit awkward, like, I feel like I probably ought to acknowledge that since I'm in polite company.
I'll nod at her. Yeah, go on. You need to respond. What
Yeah.
are you going to do?
She, you know what?
It's a
You know
formal
what?
greeting.
Yeah, let's see what happens. She sort of rather tentatively wiggles
Does a
her
wave.
arm in a slightly awkward, improvised way, like she feels like maybe that's what you were expecting.
All right, I'll wink at her and put my elbow out. Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Okay, that's very odd. Who else do you recognise?
Is Lashonna there?
There's no sign of Lashonna, no, Scaly.
Okay, I thought she was going to be here.
There is one
Not
other
yet.
person you recognise. Sort of slightly standing behind a gaggle of people, you think probably deliberately, so as not to be recognised by you, is the corpulent form of Balabar Smink,
Ah. Oh, really?
dripping with
Like,
jewellery. He's got that hair, he's got the slight curl over the ear and then slightly longer at the back, that kind of tycoon hair. It's very fleshy. And you can see that he's looking awkward. He looks like he's trying to do two things at once. He looks like he's trying to, by association, insert himself into a small gaggle of people who are chatting and laughing and obviously know each other. And also, by doing so, keeping them between him and you.
Hmm.
Somebody give me all of you, give me a group perception check. That is, if more of you
perception
make it than
check.
don't make it, you succeed.
What's the DC?
Oh, great.
Well, I'll tell you about that in a moment. Okay,
21.
So 21,
17.
20.
20,
One.
1. That's more successes than fails. The first thing that you notice between you, there's a bit of a nudge between you or whatever, is that a couple of the guests seem to be either carrying under their arms or held in one hand gifts or gift-wrapped objects anyway. The second thing you notice is that over on a table that's associated with the tables where all the drinks are being organised, there's a couple of skeletal sommeliers standing behind them or whatever. There is a table where some people seem to have left gifts, little gift bags or cards and so forth.
No.
Yep, that's what you notice.
Oops.
What do you want to do? Do you want to talk to people? Please say no. Please say you leave and go and investigate a really simple linear dungeon. One creature in it. I don't have to remember 1,000 voices. This could be very ropey on the old voice front.
I'll go over to Mother Maggot,
Have we got
whatever her name is.
something we could conjure up as a gift?
Mahudral. I'm sure we got
Oh,
something.
hello.
She says.
Hello, how's our friend Lugpod?
You get the sense there that she was trying to mask a reaction to that name and failed. But she says, "I'm sorry, I'm not familiar."
Loser.
Are you 100% okay? She looks over at one of the staff and says, "I think this little person is having some kind of seizure."
Okay, I'll walk away.
No, he seems to be all right. There was something going on there, though. She definitely reacted to the name Lugpod.
Are we inside or outside?
You're outside on it's a
Is
covered
there, is there
terrace.
a covered terrace, but is there an adjoining building then?
What sort of gifts have been left, Mike?
Difficult to tell. They're wrapped. Some of them are quite sizable.
Are they wrapped in fancy paper or?
Yeah, they're wrapped in fancy paper with little ribbons.
Did we bring a gift?
No, we didn't, of course.
Well, maybe we can
You didn't think of that.
nick one and then present it again as our own.
Yeah, or
Presuming all of these gifts have little cards stuck in them with people's names on them,
Yeah, so we can nick a card,
as in,
replace
congratulations.
it with our
on
own
your-
names.
Mike, Scaly's going to take a sneaky look at one of the cards and see what it says.
It says, "For His Highness, on the occasion of his 20th year on the throne, with best wishes, Emissary Saloop." And it's attached to a bottle or flask or something wrapped up. I mean, it's just, you can't conceal it with the wrapping.
Okay.
Have you got any kind of sort of
Is this outside?
transmutation spell?
Is this outside area connected to a building?
Take the kind of standard British stately home,
Yeah.
where you've got a gated courtyard and then a multi-winged building surrounding it. Well, chop out a little bit of the left-hand side of that courtyard and open it up, and it just you walk out through an aperture onto a lawned terrace at the cliff edge that looks down over the lake. So you're outside, but it's partially covered.
Is there any way of getting into the building? Obviously.
Yeah, there are ways everywhere of getting into the
Just
building.
wondering.
You can't see guests going backwards and forwards, but you can see these attendants routinely exiting and entering through little doors at the side of the terrace where they're replenishing drinks or doing whatever.
Okay.
And of course, more guests are arriving behind you. The next person to turn up directly behind you is a childlike human with a shock of blue hair. She looks like she's been dressed by a grown-up for a party that she doesn't want to be at. Right, that sort of Sunday best awkwardness. She looks a little bit out of sorts. She's following up behind you.
I'm going to mingle and try and pick up the equivalent of rumours. Yeah,
Yeah.
gossip.
Yes, I will do the same.
Okay.
Listening out for different languages.
Yeah, give me charisma investigation checks, the both of you.
Why does it have to be a charisma investigation check?
23.
Is there no other check?
If you can come up with a rationale, then you can
Well-
Use insight to look at body language, so people that are maybe less happy to be here, or
if you tell me the kinds of things that you want to do and the kinds of skills that you think go along with that, then as long as it makes sense, you can do whatever you like.
well, I'm going to do what I just suggested. Look for the people with my insight
Yeah.
who
Okay.
are the least happy to be present, who look like
Yeah.
they're being forced to be present or are begrudgingly in attendance. I'm going to just
Yeah.
And
got
that's
it.
if
who I want to
Sessions would,
identify.
Yeah,
and Scaly will say to Sessions, if you just let me know who they are, I might go up and have a chat with them.
Okay. And then Lucas, why don't you
So-
talk to me about what you're
so
doing
my-
and what skill you think would work with that?
so my arguments are, firstly, the thing about charisma is more of an active thing, right? But it does say, I do agree with you, it says charisma checks, find the best person to talk to for news and gossip, blend into a crowd to get the sense of key topics of conversation.
There you go.
However, all I'm doing in this sense is I'm just listening.
Right, so you're just listening to the hubbub.
It's not
and
my
trying-
intention to go up to people. Yeah, that's right. We're
no,
not-
you're being
I
trying to be
would understand
GCHQ.
charisma if you were sort of, if you're going up and sort of chit-chat and small talk and trying to glean stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not trying to do that.
You're trying to pick
I'm
out the wheat from the chaff in the general hubbub of conversation to see if you can pick up any interesting little nuggets.
And again, the thing I'm trying to pick up on specifically is people who are not speaking the common language of Frosthanger. So just listening to them talking to each other amongst themselves and what have you.
Got it. And then Burple, you're using your
generally going and
charisma.
chatting, trying to...
Yeah, right. Got it.
What people know about, Zeech or the party or, gossip at court, that sort of thing.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put these all together. Roll your checks.
I got 24.
I got 13.
13.
I got a 9.
9.
God.
Scaling is a 10.
Sessions, scanning the crowd for people who look obviously out of sorts or out of place.
Mm-hmm.
The gnome with the giant moustache, I think we've discussed this before, definitely get a vibe off this little gnome that they have to be here, that they would rather not be here. They look a bit socially awkward. Smenk, you get the sense that Smenk wants to be here, but regards the entire process as a bit of a challenge and has not expected you to turn up. Mahudril looks awkward, and ever since she's chatted to Buggy, she looks more awkward. The little kid, as she approaches, you realise that it's just a woman with a childlike quality. She looks like she really doesn't want to be there, like she feels she has to be there. There is a gentleman, a very distinguished-looking male human in extremely well-made armour, polished to a shine. He's got a hook for a hand, for his left hand. The outward demeanour is that he is urbane, sophisticated, part of the set, part of the party, but you can just tell. You can read behind the eyes. He looks like he would rather be anywhere else but here. That's not bad for a 13.
Mm-hmm.
Burple, from chatting to a few people, it doesn't take you long before you get the distinct impression that the turnout is disappointing. Nobody's saying so out loud because it would be rude to do so. So they're doing it by implication, and they're a little bit concerned about how that might go down with your host. Also, you get the sense that there's a little bit of where is Zeech? Zeechery going on.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else really rolled high enough.
Okay. I'm going to go and chat to the one with the childlike quality and then the gnome with the moustache.
Okay. You can do that. Anybody else want to pick out anybody in particular to talk to?
I want to talk to the ranger lady.
You can start trying to strike up conversations with these people. And just as you do, there is a little fanfare on some discordant horns. A sort of... and Zeech arrives. I suppose I better describe Zeech to you, eh?
Yeah.
He's handsome. He's in his early 40s, a human. He looks younger than his years, but in that slightly... it looks like he's been trying to cling on to youth a little bit. That's a better way of putting it. His hair is loose and just a little bit longer than shoulder length. You chaps, you know a little bit about fashion now because you've shopped in some of Frosthanger's most select boutiques. He's wearing what looks like super stylish clothing. It looks like an awful lot of thought has gone into his outfit, and it's an outfit, not clothes. He doesn't look particularly happy. Give me an insight check, somebody.
I'm crap at it.
Oh, for God's sake.
6. Parker got 8.
22.
No, but I got a 1.
22 from Sessions is enough. Sessions, it's like a switch is being thrown. It's like he's been off stage and he's not particularly happy and he doesn't really particularly want to be here. And then you can just see a little moment as he steps out and he steps into the light a little bit more and the fanfare dies away. Talabir says, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, the illustrious Prince Zeech." And there's a little ripple of applause from everybody, and Zeech's countenance changes completely, like he's just switched on like the public Zeech. And there's a broad smile, his posture improves, and he's immediately just shaking hands and waving to them.
On it.
He's on it. He's on it.
Have you ever seen that scene of Anthony Hopkins in Nixon? Walks out into the crowd and it just sort of turns on the, smile and everything.
This is a performance, a studied performance that he can just switch on.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought it was going to be Chank Thankum.
Ladies and gentlemen. Is that what you thought I got Talabir in?
And gentlemen.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
From the heart of the palace. from the throne room.
Funkum.
Talabir says, "My lords, ladies, and other honoured guests, Prince Zeech bids you welcome, and I trust you will enjoy the hospitality of his humble home." He kind of gestures with his arm to sort of say, all this palace is for you to enjoy, but you get the sense that it really isn't. "You may now present your gifts to honour the prince." And then he steps back, and Zeech puts on a very good show of shock and surprise look. Like,
Really? Me? Gifts?
one of these attendants, these skeletal attendants, gestures towards the table where the other gifts are, and people sort of start to unconsciously, collectively sort themselves into a queue.
Right.
The little lady that you're with, Sessions, says, "Sorry, we've been interrupted right at the beginning. My name's Smebadoo Pagley.
Smebadoo.
What have you brought for the prince?" And she just holds up a little, it looks like it might be a ring box, or it's a little square box. It's about a couple of inches across.
I said the ambassador has the gift.
"Oh, you're a representative from elsewhere.
Yes.
I see. Well, anyway, it was very nice talking to you."
What gift did you bring?
She just laughs, and she says, "I'm not really sure." And she just keeps going.
Packed for you.
"Not deliberately." And she laughs again.
Why do I know this name? Why do we know this name?
Sounds familiar.
It's a really important name.
What was it?
Came up last time.
Smebadoo Pagley.
Yes, I've got a note of it
Nobody can
somewhere.
remember. It's terrible.
I've got a note of this. I've got a note of it. Fuck.
Who was going to talk to... Oh, you were going to talk to the gnome, but you didn't get a
the gnome.
chance.
Yeah.
You can try and manoeuvre yourself into the queue position next to him.
I'll find my ambassador. Where is the ambassador?
Where's Buggy?
Yeah.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You've been announced as the ambassador of the Robber-Dobber-Dob.
Yeah.
Ah, well,
That's what you told
My
Armin
gift-
Horatio when you
my
asked for
gift
the
was
invitations.
with the page, my page. The big green guy with the green head.
You're just asking where you are.
All right.
People are kind of gathering to form a queue. You've got an opportunity now to try and think of something.
Yeah. What have you got on you?
I have a spare
Ambassador.
loot.
A loot?
Got
Yes.
a loot.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
excellent.
possibly we have some of the finest wine from wherever it is we come from in that lovely wine sack we have. The blessed water of, I can't remember where we're supposed to have come from.
The Robber-Dobber-Dob.
The Robber-Dobber-Dob.
I don't... You made this up. Okay.
Uh,
I'm basically
I
just
haven't
trapping you in your own deceptions from before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if I'd been here last week, it
And-
would have all been much more organised.
yeah.
Yeah, of course we would.
Has anybody got some magical item they don't mind getting rid of?
I was thinking about that. I have a ring of evasion.
Well,
I have a tinderbox, so I could
I
basically
have a tinder
take
box.
all
I was
the,
thinking about the tinder box.
take the crap out of the tinderbox, pack it with some, kind of material, and put the ring in it. I'm sure my loot would come in in a case.
Are you drifting towards the queue? There's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to be a
drifting
point where
towards-
it's obvious that you're the only one standing around looking
Yeah,
a bit...
yes.
Okay,
yes,
are you
we'll go
going
just
together
towards
or are you going separately?
Let's go together.
Yeah,
Okay,
together.
so as a group, you join this snaking line towards the prince, which moves very slowly, like a reception line at a wedding. About a minute in, as you're queuing, you realise that Balabar Smenk, he was holding a little gift earlier. He was holding a little box. It looks like he hasn't got that little gift anymore. And you realise that he's just sort of looking around and he's starting to get really kind of nervous and uncomfortable.
Huh.
A voice next to you, Parker, says, "I've got something you can give the prince."
Oh, yeah.
Is it that?
There's a chap
Blonde
standing
god
next to you that
creature.
wasn't there an instant before. It's very handsome. Again, that slight sort of clinging onto youth thing going on. Tight golden curly hair.
Is this the same?
Very elegant black clothing.
Is this the same guy who came up to me during the games?
Yeah, same guy. He's proffering you a little gift bag with little golden handles and a little bow at the top.
Right.
It's just come out of nowhere. You could give this to the prince, of course, if you were short of something.
Thank you very much.
Isn't
Can I
he
have a
the,
look in it?
Prince of Mischief or something?
Yes, he's the something like
Yeah.
that, wasn't he?
You could look
Probably.
inside, but you won't see the same as what Zeech sees.
That's difficult.
That's another favour you owe me. And then he's just not there. You couldn't help but look over
This
your
is
shoulder
very
at something, and when
weird.
you look back, he's just not there anymore.
You're racking up favours.
But you've got this little bag in your hand. Do you want to look inside it?
I certainly do, yes. But you just said to me that Zeech will see something else.
Yeah,
so
there's
it's
nothing in
obviously-
it. It's empty. The queue keeps snaking forwards. Who gets to the front first? Let's have a look. Let's roll the dice.
Gamble. Why the
Hang on, can you just clarify? Is he
hell
opening the
did I
presents
put-
as they're put before him?
Yes, he is.
Or are they just being laid in front of
No,
him?
no,
or
he's
is
opening
someone-
them. He's opening them. He's opening some from the table, and he's opening some that have been brought to him by people. While you're all queuing, another guest arrives, a very bored-looking young woman with antlers. You hear her, she's sort of slightly
This is just bizarre.
sloshed, maybe. She's kind of staggering a little bit, and she's like, "Does anybody got a decent drink around here?" And then she looks over at the thing with Zeech being given his gifts, and she goes, "Oh, cringe," and then stomps off in the direction of the drinks table. Let's roll to see who gets to the front of the queue first. I'm going to roll.
Well, hang on, we've got a bag, right?
You've got a bit of time to, think
Is
about
that his
things. I'm
wife
going to
or
roll a
something?
d10, looking around the table from my left to my right, getting a 4. Sessions is the first to the front of the queue.
But
There's
we're
a-
a group, right?
Yeah, but it's
mean-
just a question of who's there first.
You
Well, I
give
mean,
them
or
lots
do
of
you want to try and
cheese.
would you like to try and give a gift collectively as a group of 5?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to
Oh
go
yes,
for this.
absolutely.
This may go horribly wrong.
Nobody
but
else is
given-
doing this. Just be 100% clear. Everybody else is giving individual gifts. You've not seen any
Well,
evidence of any kind of
whereas a
collective gift giving. I'm not saying you can't do it.
but we're a group. We came as a group.
Yeah.
I'm just going to basically present him with this bag and say,
So you sort of step in front of Sessions.
yeah, and say, with our felicitations on 20 years, thank you very much for the invitation. Then stand around as long as is sort of sensible, let the queue shuffle by, or I don't know.
He looks a little underwhelmed by the bag. He lifts it up, puts a couple of fingers in it to open it a little so he can peek inside,
Yeah.
and his face brightens in delight. He looks up at you and he says,
Well, how did you know?
and then he closes it, and instead of putting it back on the table, he tucks it inside his doublet. And then he turns to Sessions and he says,
And what have you brought me?
I brought you this pen.
No, I'm with him. No, I'm so I'm
We're
going to
together.
try and sort of like.
He's a page.
Next thing I do,
yes,
Mike, is I try and sort of move us all on together and say, thank you very much that it pleased you, and move off in that direction.
give me a
The
charisma
delegation.
persuasion check.
Oh,
And don't try and come up
persuasion.
with some
Intimidation.
cockeyed little explanation that you could use your fucking athletics climb or something.
All right. I will go for it.
Okay.
-1.
I could try and
What
intimidate
about
him.
deception?
Well, it's Parker who's
Bloody
doing it.
hell.
Okay. Do you want to use your alt
One.
dice? It's a 1. Do you
No,
want to use your
I'm
alt
gonna,
dice?
I'm gonna use one. No,
Okay.
A 6.
a 6.
He doesn't look convinced
I'm gonna
by
cuff
that.
I'd like to cuff Parker and mutter, you had one simple task to do. Hand over
Very
our
good.
gift, and Mark
It's a
will
bit-
move on.
It's
Yeah.
a bit
One
hard to cuff
simple-
someone who's about 3 times the size of you, though.
No, yeah, you can.
It's
yeah,
a
in that-
gesture, isn't it?
Give me a bluff check or whatever. What is it? Is it deception
It's
bluff?
charisma deception.
Deception.
16.
Okay, well that's very successful. Sorry, what are you trying to make Zeech believe?
That he's just.
But we're all
he-
together. We've handed in the present, and now we're.
And
moving
now
on.
he's somehow cocking up the ceremony.
Oh,
Come
I
on, out
see.
the way.
Okay, but you're definitely trying to give the impression that it's a gift from all of you rather than.
It's
Yes.
on behalf of our nation.
Okay, fine. Well, okay.
Terrible.
As with a lot of people who are very used to etiquette and formality and social situations and all of that, he kind of lets it go. He's just too posh to challenge you.
I have a separate present, a personal present, which I will present to him, which is this
Oh.
lute and music lessons. This lute,
It's just
it belongs. It comes from my great grandfather, and he brought it back from his travels. And ever
Yes.
since, our family.
You catch him casting a desperate glance at Talaby.
Yes,
Yeah, so I'm going to launch off into a very long story. So you see, when he was about 20, he had an argument
Yes.
with his
Yes.
father. You see,
Yes.
and so He went on his
Oh,
travels.
yeah, yes.
Have you heard of the land of Gadooble?
Yes, the land of great.
Yes, well,
of
you're
course,
very
yes.
knowledgeable. I'm sure you must know of it. So he...
Part of my studies from when I was a very young boy.
Sorry, what's happened to your voice? Anyway, so...
It's been remembered.
So he caught ship from the local...
He caught what?
He caught a ship.
What? He got on a ship.
Yes.
And he travelled to the land of Gadobel, and from there he toiled in the fields for many years until he met a wise man who taught him the ways of the lute. And this lute was handed down to him.
It's been splendid to meet you.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you
what?
ever so much for your generous gift.
Good.
No!
But I haven't finished.
He just looks over your shoulder at the next person.
Okay, I will then move on.
The next person is Smebadu Upagli,
Whose name we know.
Whose name we really know.
who
was very
proffers this
important.
little ring box sized thing in wrapping paper. Somebody give me an insight check or a perception check.
None of this is my skill.
No. 10. No.
No, 5.
17.
17 from Sessions, who is basically the master of these kinds of skills. The moment that this ring box is proffered by this little person up to Zeech's smiling countenance, you notice that Smenk just looks aghast, agog. His eyes widen. He just looks like, how on earth has that happened?
Right.
And Zeech opens his little box and he opens the thing and he says, oh,
Very kind of you to proffer me this lovely little bauble.
and Smebadu Upagli gives him a little girlish curtsy, looks over her shoulder, kind of catches Smenk's eye, laughs, and then wanders off to join the rest of you. And she looks at you, Sessions, and says, well, that was fun.
Do you have history with Balabar Smenk?
Oh, is that his name?
That was nicely done.
I've never seen him before in my life, no. Anyway, let's go and get a drink.
Why not?
Oh, God. Who is she? We know her. She's really important.
Right,
This
on
is
we
really
go.
annoying.
So what do you do? I say to her.
Oh, this and that.
Do you live around here?
Frosthanger? Yes, of course. Where are you from? Don't tell me. You're from, what was the name of the place you came up with? The made-up place?
Rabadabadoo. Rubba-dub-dub-dub.
I thought you were doing quite well with the story with the loot. It's a shame I wasn't prepared to listen to the end of it. Anyway, you know.
Yes, I
Props
was
from one kid
running out
into
of
another,
steam.
she says.
She's not the head of the crime family that we're trying to broker a deal with, is she?
Bingo.
That's it.
You remembered?
Yes.
The one that
this
we're
is
trying to-
Cuthbert.
And
Yes.
that is
Cuthbert's
why
contact.
Dan is my favourite player.
Well done. Golfing clap.
Thank you. So I will.
Well, didn't
you know,
Paul? Didn't you
chat with
narrate
her.
that bit?
That's why I knew the name. I was trying desperately to remember how
Yeah. Paul's got
rapidly trying to read through.
We're all over this, Mike.
literally
We're all
no
over it.
excuse. He had
I've
to be
got-
coached on that person and
I've
had
got
to read out
pages of
stuff.
notes. I was looking it up.
I mean, let's face it, none of us have got
Absolutely.
any excuse at all.
Yeah. Right. You can
I'll hand her a
all
glass of wine.
award yourselves one authority point.
How many have we got now?
Well, I never.
Because of the way I've been keeping track.
We've
Well, I think I missed
mostly got
one.
the same. You've all got 3. I've got 2.
Didn't
I've
you
got
get
4.
your
So I've
one
got 4
back
now.
by taking them all for lunch?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
still gives me 2.
Oh, because
I lost
everybody
one,
got
didn't I?
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that must give me 5 then.
I've
You
got
might have
4.
No.
4.
4.
I'll
Well, I've
read
got
it out
3
again.
already.
We got
Shall I show you again, Baldric?
Okay, 4. Fine. I'm
The 8
gonna
creatures of
try
the Indus have mastered this. You got away with that because of Parker and the whatever the hell was in that bag. The Twisted Prince has
This is another reason why
bought you
I
an
need
authority
to go.
point.
Another
The Twisted
reason
Prince,
why
I thought
need
it
to
might
go
be
and
him.
visit Isenfen. Find out if she knows why I'm keep being visited by this guy.
We recognise him. Why didn't you introduce? Did he look different this time? Why not introduce him as like the Twisted Prince? The
I
next
could've-
time we see Zeech, are you going to say, "Well, it's a guy. He's wearing very ornate
No,
robes."
whoa, slow down. I could have said, there's a chap who's very familiar. He's the chap that you thought might have been the Twisted Prince who you met surprisingly in the games. Okay, I could have done it like that, but I just did it like describing him, and then he got it, which is
but I
another
mean,
way
it
of doing
didn't
it,
make
which is
any
perfectly
difference, Dan,
reasonable.
because
Yeah.
I worked it out.
I gave him all of the
Yeah.
Twisted Prince characteristics.
Okay.
Show, not tell.
Okay.
But no. fine.
Oh, it's not good enough.
It really isn't.
Still your favourite player?
There you are onto something. This is so not good enough. And now, ladies and gentlemen, critical role. Where were we? We were... Oh, okay. Yep.
Where were we? What's happening?
There is another sounding of the shambolic fanfare.
Can I
Talabir.
throw in a harmony?
If you wish, yeah. People look at you a bit
I'm
strangely.
putting my earplugs in.
Talabir pipes up. Ladies and gentlemen, please follow me to the performance area. And at the far end of the lawn, backing on to the precipitous drop over into the Lake of the Cold Sky, a stage has been erected. It's like that kind of medieval street theatre stage, so it's pretty small, with a rather crudely fashioned backdrop of a townscape. And a skeleton is standing beside this set, holding the moon on a string on the end of a pole. And then there's another one moving a cloud backwards and forwards.
Right.
My masters, says Talabir, we beg you to enjoy our little tale. It is a small thing that I penned myself, a tale of menace, revenge, lust and death, which I have called the Harlequinade of Mortificatio. And the guests start to filter towards a set of those little wedding chairs, golden and red velvet, that have been arranged in front of this stage, and you kind of gesture towards these chairs. Do you go and sit at the chairs and watch the wooden moon
sit.
and the...
Yeah, sit at the back.
Well, there's a very strange play that is performed for you. It's in total silence.
Right.
Every now and again, there's a little ripple of applause from the guests. The players are more of these animated skeletons. And they start with doing stupid stuff, like drinking and having all of the wine run down and just kind of spray out through the ribcage or whatever.
Slapstick.
Well, sort of. And then the events that are portrayed take a sort of slightly different turn. The skeletons as well look a little bit different. The sort of the cast changes. They look like regular animated skeletons. There's none of this sort of blackened, polished effect. And there's a story. One of them comes onto the stage and defaces a portrait of Zeech, which is sitting at the back of this set, this room that's displayed in front of you. And then it wanders off and sort of does this thing where it pantomimes laughter by holding onto its ribcage and rocking backwards and forwards. And then you kind of roll forward and you see it come back and you see it drink from a glass of wine. Again, you're expecting this kind of pantomime thing where it all just kind of flows through and it's all a bit ridiculous. But instead, it collapses to the floor as if it's been poisoned. Sitting next to you, Sessions, there's an elderly chap.
Mm-hmm.
Sotto voce leans towards you and says, "Oh, that must be old Witch Willow the Rogue." That's what I heard had happened to him anyway.
Yeah.
There's another little scene that plays out where a skeletal form is on the stage, dressed in a bridal gown. The skeleton has got antlers attached to its temples and is prettying itself in front of a mirror. And another skeleton wanders in, and there is some kind of heated discussion, at which point the skeleton with the antlers rips a ring off their little bony finger and throws it down on the floor in front of the visitor skeleton. And the visitor skeleton exits stage right, and the bridal skeleton exits stage left. And then the visitor skeleton comes back onto the stage, this time riding a horse skeleton, obviously in the process of hunting. It's got a spear, it's got a hunting horn, and then at a certain point, a spear comes flying in from stage right and impales it, and the whole skeleton and all the horse just all falls apart into a big rattle of bones all over the stage, to great laughter. Burple, you're sitting next to a very posh-looking, very elegant lady. She says, "Oh, serves old Cremp right for ditching the princess, eh? Huh? Eh?
Mm.
And then the final act shows a skeleton dressed in jester's motley and another skeleton who is clearly meant to be Zeech in a very sharp outfit, sitting on a throne. And the skeleton in jester's motley is cavorting antically about, waving his stick with bells on, whatever it is that jesters do, and his little skeletal jaw is going up and down, obviously kind of chattering away or telling jokes, and then he says something, and both skeletons freeze in an instant. The Zeech skeleton just looks absolutely furious, stands up, shakes its skeletal fist at the little jester skeleton, and the jester is grabbed by a couple of skeletons that run on from stage right and produce a sort of little something like a green grub-like something and shove this thing into the skull of the jester skeleton, who then convulses and staggers off stage right with the other two. Zeech sits down slumped in his throne. Scaly, sitting next to you, there is a dwarf, an 8-braided dwarf, corpulent woman. And she looks at you and she says, well now, that's interesting. I always thought that he had the last one boiled alive. Well, I never. And as the applause dies down, the show is over.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does
Well,
that
what do you
tell us
know?
that we'll forget within 20 seconds?
Talabir strides in front of the stage, looking nervous in his jester's motley. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed our show. Now will you please follow me and join me on the terrace for the slaughter of the curious avians. And he gestures you forward with his jester's stick.
Okay.
And everybody starts
Curious avian.
following. It's all on the invitation.
All of this means something.
Well, it's implying that Zeech is ruthless in the face of any kind of offence, but that doesn't tally with the Zeech that we've encountered.
But then there's the worm.
Yeah.
At the end, it implies that there's an involvement with him and a worm, and he's somehow linked with the worms in some kind of control. The other ones with the ring and the wife and that, I don't know. Not a clue. Spoo Hagley, we've got to go and talk to her. And waiting for Lashonda to turn up. And frankly, if Johnny doesn't get to bash something soon, he's going to explode. It's been a number of sessions since he's had the opportunity to roll a 5 on a 20-sided dice.
Yeah, so the longer we leave it, the funnier it will be.
Yeah, this is true.
I can't take it anymore.
We need some more role-playing.
Somebody give me a charisma investigation or just a general charisma check.
Oh, I could probably do
Charisma investigation 25.
It's obvious that the guests are a little bit unsettled, despite their polite applause by that display. The general sense seems to be it's all very well Zeech getting rid of his enemies in gruesome ways, but playing those ways out on a stage using the skeletons of those same people in front of the assembled dignitaries of the town really might be a step too far.
Okay.
The ruthless lord that is portrayed in those kind of events doesn't really tally with the
No, it doesn't.
polite, well-meaning, well-mannered guy in front of us. So something's going on. Possibly he's just a front and is not actually the power behind the throne.
I think what we've discovered so far, and again, I don't read very far ahead of where we are, is there's always something going on.
I'll sort of sidle up to Smebadoo.
Oh, yes.
And I'll say, well, what did you make of that? That was odd, I thought.
She laughs. She's like, I mean, I didn't know that about the jester. Everybody thought the jester was boiled alive.
Yeah, but otherwise it's a bit odd to kind of display.
You think? Yeah, just a little. Oh,
Yeah.
there we are.
Yeah.
We have to live with who we have to live with.
Yeah.
My name's Smebadoo, by the way. Smebadoo
Yes,
Upagley. What's your name?
my name's Burple Herpish.
Burple Herpish.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did actually have a small matter to discuss with you.
Oh, you did? About
Yes.
the party?
Not exactly, no. I bring word from Cuthbert Ouchsplinter.
Cuthbert
Ouchsplinter.
Ouchsplinter.
Yes.
Yeah, she
You know.
immediately seems guarded. Like, I
Yes.
thought you were just a person and now you're not just a person.
Yes, I'm sorry to spring this on you. Really, I'm just a messenger here. I'm not anything else.
Mhm. You have a message?
I have a message from Cuthbert for you. he would like, I can't remember what we were asked to say, but he would like to open discussions with you and your family, about a possible alliance,
About opening up trade
or
routes.
otherwise.
Between Evenstar.
And he would like to engage in the discussion about how that might work.
Well, we had a wonderful relationship with the last lot, but I don't know about this Cuthbert, to be honest. He doesn't seem to be particularly trustworthy.
I suppose.
Could be right
Oh,
there.
there's a lot of
You
money
could
to
say
be
that.
made, but I don't know if I want to make it with him. I can't really think of a better way of putting it.
That is, of course, your prerogative, but
Yeah, it is. It's my prerogative. I can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And maybe this isn't the...
Yes, of
It looks
course.
like
I
something's
don't
about
want to
happen.
spoil your
Perhaps this is something
party.
we can talk about maybe at dinner.
Yeah, of course. Sure.
The thing here is, I don't strictly operate within the normal understandings of the law and so forth. That's really
Well, I
how
think
I...
you could say the same with
Cuthbert.
Cuthbert.
Yeah. What's your connection with Cuthbert?
It's a long story. We know him of old. We have a, shall we say, an uneasy alliance of sorts at the moment.
Okay.
We don't work for him.
Oh, I see what's going on here. And he needed somebody who was at the party who could speak to me.
Correct.
Or speak to Zeech, right?
Did he say he didn't say he wanted to speak to Zeech? Did he?
No.
No, he didn't. He was more interested in speaking with you.
Yeah.
There are people that I can't ignore, and Zeech is one of them. So,
right. Well, we'll leave that with you. But
I've got limited freedom of movement, even if I was inclined to trust your.
Sure.
Can I call him your friend, or what? Associate?
Acquaintance.
Acquaintance.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it a bit later, anyway. Because look, it's about to start.
Okay.
And as she says that, Talabir jumps up onto a stone railing, little stone columns, like the little thing that you get at the edge of a garden overlooking the lake in somewhere like Bellagio or something. Slightly kind of.
Right.
Yeah. And now, a welcome to the balcony of expectorants. And he kind of gestures around where you are. You've wandered down from the lawn, down a vertiginous set of steps carved into the rock face. You've ended up in a balcony terrace about, 50, 60 feet down from where you were. And the handsome slaughter of curious avians. And two skeletons march out, carrying between them a large rack of crossbows. And then another couple of skeletons follow up behind them, wheeling a trolley on which sit a number of cages filled with brightly coloured birds, like birds of paradise. Ladies and gentlemen, please select your weapon and make ready to... And then Zeech cuts him off and just slaps Talabir round the back of the head. Like, back! Talabir kind of goes all ends up, almost tips over the edge of the balcony. Oh dear, I've almost fallen over to my death. And Zeech steps forward, looks at you all, picks a crossbow from the stack that is different to all the others. Ivory inlay, filigree. You can almost smell the magic. He says, I'm feeling particularly lucky today. If anyone can bring down more than me, I shall give the lucky soul 1,000 gold coins. And Talabir goes to explain how the competition works. Again, he's looking particularly discombobulated. Everybody must select their crossbow. Birds will be released. His Majesty will go first. The guest that downs the largest number of birds will be declared the winner. Be careful, though. These birds are no normal birds, for they issue a colourful and hypnotic spray into the air as they fly, making shooting them a formidable challenge. At that point, one of these skeletons lifts the top off one of these cages, and 3 of these birds fly out, off the balcony, out over the lake, and Zeech, just one-handed, up with his magic crossbow, spoink, 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 hits all 3. 1, 2, 3, dead, gone. You got the sense that some kind of hypnotic, some kind of colourful thing was about to happen, and he's just too quick.
Uh-huh.
And again, says Talabir. And they open another cage. This time, the 3 birds get out. Zeech is a little bit caught off guard. They get time to release this swirl of colours. Can everybody give me a wisdom save? DC 12, please.
29.
21.
I see 7.
no.
Okay.
I'm going to use my luck again.
Burple got
Ridiculous.
16.
8.
If you failed, friend guide storyteller, don't worry about luck points or dice or anything like that. You are briefly mesmerized by these colours. You're in a position where you can't really act. You just stand agog, staring
around.
at the swirling colours, as does Zeech, who looks taken aback and looks like he wasn't prepared and is also mesmerised, as are many of the guests. A lot of the guests suddenly stand stock still and agog and just stare out over the cliff. Those of you who saved, you can see these birds spin in the air, dance and disperse to freedom. Talabir, who made his saving throw, says, "And once more, and for a final time." And a third cage is opened. The 3 birds are released. And can you all make those saving throws again, please? We're not going to dwell on this. Keep it quick.
17.
Yeah, okay. So anybody who makes it, you can watch this
7.
unfold. Anybody who doesn't, you stand there, stock still. Zeech turns and downs these 3 birds. He's not affected by the hypnotic pattern. And they all plummet into the sea. And as they are extinguished, the display is extinguished and you return to your senses. And Talabir turns to the crowd and says, "His Majesty Prince Zeech has downed 6 of the birds. Who will challenge?"
I'll step
Right.
up. I'll step up.
Okay. You get 3 melee rounds, 3 bird releases. Each time the birds are released, you can make a saving throw.
Okay.
You get the sense that Zeech is mightily unhappy about the fact that they opened the second cage before he had got a chance to get himself set and ready. The crossbows do not have the loading property. That means that if you get an extra attack in a round, that you can fire 2 bolts, which means that technically you could equal his score if you hit your targets with every shot that you have and you make all of your saving throws.
I'm going to wish Scaly luck. I'm going to bless him.
Thank you. What does that
Anybody
give
else
me?
want to do anything like that?
Nah.
Plus a D4 on your attack roll. And
Okay.
saving throws.
And saving throws.
Okay.
Nothing from you, Scaly? We're off.
Pace yourself.
I could do
Hmm.
haste.
They give you 3 attacks, so you'd actually have...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll cast a haste on myself. So it's 3 attacks per round.
assuming you save.
Crossbows, is it a dex or a strength?
It's Dex.
It's dex. So my dex is +3.
Mm-hmm.
So that's +7. Right.
Are you ready? They are armor class 14. So let us start with the first release. They release 3 birds. Can you make a saving throw? The rest of you don't need to make these saves. You're either rooted to the spot or you're watching. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The only one that
Right.
really matters is Scaly. Can you give me a wisdom save, DC 12?
21. Yeah. First attack
Yep. Needing a
is at
7.
plus-
You make it.
is
It's 1
making
down.
it. Second attack.
2 down.
Attack. Yeah, it's 19. And third attack.
3 down. The next batch. Make your save. Don't roll a 1.
Make a save.
And the
First
first bird, or first shot, 4.
15.
Second shot, 16. You
5.
got 5. You're going to equal Zeech's score with this one if you hit. It's a 1.
1.
What do you get?
So I get 8.
You can't make it. You can't make it.
That's a 1 anyway.
It's a 1 anyway. It's a miss. You're right.
It's a miss.
Dan is my favourite player. Make your save for the third round. You're on 5. Zeech got 6.
Yep.
You got 3
Right.
shots. First shot.
attack.
Oh,
Misses.
dear. What was that in total? That's a
Can
10.
be.
Roll
10.
a
Plus a
D4.
D4.
If you get a 4, it's a hit. This could be crucial, but it's
Oh,
not.
no.
It's a miss.
Okay, so you're still on 5. You've got 2 more left.
Second shot.
And it's,
Yeah, it's a
It's
20.
a 20. You've equaled Zeech's record. Final shot, the final bird. Last chance to do it. He's not
he
done it. He's
misses.
rolled a 2. You
You're
want to use
hopeless.
You want to use your alt
Can I
dice?
use my Ort dice?
You can if
Yeah,
you
I can
want.
use-
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Okay.
So I'll roll a d20 again.
It's enough. You down 7 birds. Well, we can roll forwards. The rest of the guests, exchange glances. Half of them are completely off their tits on watching these hypnotic colours for about the last however many minutes. And they've all had something to drink. They're not really stepping forward with those kinds of scores, but do any of you want to try and beat a 7?
I mean, I won't. But there's not a chance I will beat it, but I could make Zeech look better.
Are there any more challenges?
Do you mind if I have a go? I'm really not going to be very good, but
You are welcome to have your go. And he hands you a crossbow.
I'm really looking at Zeech.
Very literally, be my guest.
What is it? Proficiency bonus.
Yeah, plus your dexterity bonus.
Dexterity. +5, +2 for dexterity. So +7.
And you're going to make a saving throw.
Okay. And I'm going to make a saving throw.
Wisdom save DC 12.
Okay, so first round, getting an 11.
Okay, so you stand rooted to the spot, and the birds fly away, and there's a kind of collective.
Second round.
You hear a voice go, "You'd have thought with those strange eyes, he'd have been one."
Uh-oh.
You're just standing there, slack-jawed, with the crossbow dangling by your side. And all the guests look at each other.
Third round.
Oh no, you're just dribbling. You're just dribbling now. It's just spittle running down your chin.
It's not gone so well.
Wake up and go, what happened? How'd they do?
Yeah. Well, Bubble scores 0. Yeah, you missed the whole thing, basically.
Okay, I will
Do any other brave challengers wish to challenge Mr. O'Toole and His Majesty Prince Zeech? No one? We're certain. In that case, I declare Scaly O'Toole to be the winner. And there's a smattering of applause. Insight check, please. All of you.
Yeah.
I'm going to light up a cigar.
4.
23.
19.
Actually, no, 6. I beg your pardon.
6.
Entirely different from 4.
Parker.
Yeah.
15.
Parker, Buggy, you think that
19.
Zeech is looking magnanimous in defeat, but
Okay.
behind the eyes, he's looking annoyed. He's looking like he needs to be mollified. Who got the big number? Parker.
I did.
He is looking expectantly at Scaly, waiting for Scaly to say something.
I will sort of elbow Scaly discreetly in the ribs and say, I think you ought to concede.
Scaly's going to take the crossbow that he was using and say something. I'm sure there was something wrong with yours. And I'll go and find the crossbow that Zeech was using and go, there you see, there was a fault. There's a fault with what you had. You see, it was amazing you shot any at all.
Oh, yes, I see, yes.
He holds it up. Give me a
good.
charisma persuasion check at advantage.
That should be persuasion of 17.
Is enough. He looks mollified by your rather clever bit of self-deprecation.
And I would then just say there's no way I can accept any prize for that when it was not a fair challenge.
Well, I thought you won fair and square, but you're right, might be something strange with my crossbow.
But you all receive, as a result of your gracious victory, another authority point.
But
all of you.
Just bloody marvellous.
Scaly's
Bloody
glory
marvellous.
rubs off on you, and by not gloating, you banked that one authority point. And on we go.
Okay.
Right.
Talabir gestures you back up this little staircase, through the vertiginous terrace where you had your welcome drinks, and in through one of these multitude of doors that lead into the palace itself, through a maze of doors and halls, and eventually down into the basement. He leads you into what is basically like a little underground arena. You know, like those little theatres where they used to perform dissections? Sort of Renaissance, right? That kind of So like a tightly packed arena or theatre, circular
In the round.
You're directed to sit on these curved benches surrounding the sunken fighting pit. In the pit, there are 2 4-foot square cages covered in silk.
Yeah.
So I can actually feel Johnny vibrating in anticipation from here.
I'm putting my earplugs in, by the way.
Up
I
at the
think
top
there's gonna be some-
level of the seating, there's a chest. Talabir opens it and retrieves a small oak box. Zeech is the last to arrive and stands in the doorway with his arms crossed and a look of expectancy and satisfaction on his face as Talabir opens this chest. From the box, Talabir withdraws a pair of silver rings. And now, we come to some lively sports and baiting, my friends. These rings are ensorcelled with magic such that those who wear them can direct the actions and movements of one who has been specially prepared as a receiver. He darts over to the prince as best as he can in his rather tight-fitting jester's gear, and he hands one of the rings to the prince, who lifts it theatrically, and he slips it on to his ring finger. There's a little momentary something overcomes the prince at the point where he puts the ring on, but then he's himself again. The prince would like to challenge one of you to an honest fight, utilizing what lives at the other end of these rings as proxies. Are there any of you brave enough to meet the prince's champion on the field of battle? And nobody says anything. Any of you want to step up?
Yeah, I'll step up.
Maybe somebody else.
I think maybe you should, Parker.
Me?
Yeah.
All right, go on then.
Parker, heralding from the Twilight Monastery. Will you step forward and accept your ring, please? You're putting it on?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Can you give me a fortitude
Constitution.
save, please?
12.
The rest of you, you see Parker visibly sag, and he staggers. As he does so, two skeletons pull on drawstrings that whip the silken cloths off the top of these cages. What's in those cages? What's happened to Parker? Well, we'll find out when we rejoin Zeech's banquet with some lively sports and baiting next week.
Nice.
God. Still no bashing, Johnny.
No bash.
I was going to say, I'm surprised
should have
Johnny
volunteered.
should have volunteered. Yeah.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The Prince of Red Hand and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. The Prince of Red Hand was written by Richard Pett. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening.